everybody, it's Ringing Worm here again, doing another installment of our DC comic Covergirls videos that I've been doing. These are statues once again. We're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Catwoman today. So if you haven't done so already, I really appreciate if you go down and subscribe to my channel for new future content. That goes a long way to help me out. Don't forget, after the end of this video, please comment and tell me what you think. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. And if you give me a thumbs down, I appreciate that too. But feedback would be great if you don't like the video. I really like to know why you didn't like the video. So please don't hesitate to share that information. I really would appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and get started. So guys, this is Catwoman, Selina Kyle, if you will. This is the DC comic book version, or the DC collectible version of it. Again, this is a porcelain statue. It is a limited edition, and I absolutely love it. So I bought this figure for multiple reasons. One, the Hot Toys Catwomen, guys, are incredibly expensive, and I'll give you an example. I have one Hot Toy Catwoman, and that is the Dark Knight Rises version of Catwoman. They do have others in the Hot Toys line, and she cost me over $400 to get a hold of. Now, you might say, well, Dustin, you paid an outrageous amount. You can get that here. Well, guys, I'm just telling you where I found it. I got it for what I feel was the best price at the time, whatever. But this Catwoman right here only cost about $60 to $80. I think it was in that ballpark. And I bought this at Salt Lake Comic Con. So for me, I bought this just to put on my shelf with my with one of my Batman figures from the Arkham Asylum statue. Excuse me. Anyway, she's absolutely fantastic figure. One of my favorite versions of Catwoman. This is a very similar to the Arkham Asylum figures from that video game that came out a few years ago, the Arkham Asylum. I really like this particular mold. I like the cat suit a lot better. Very simple. She's got the whip that goes around her. And again, guys, I couldn't pose a figure any better than this. In fact, I don't love the way I have Selina Kyle posed in my Hot Toy, but the way that she is posed is just absolutely phenomenal. I love her glasses. You can see they're translucent. You can see her eyes underneath that. That is kind of paint or a glued on addition to the figure. Great sculpt. Again, in my opinion, more for male collectors, and you can see why as I'm turning her around. Again, I'm not your parent. I'm not whatever. If you want to collect her for whatever reason, for your younger children or whatever, that is up to you. Going back, she's got the same metal pegs down below. And then, of course, she is number 124 out of 5,200 of these items. You know, 5,200, guys. I love that fact. So let's talk about that for a second. If you don't know, I talked about the new 52 with Supergirl in the first video that we did in the statue figures. So the new 52, you know, the DC comic book universe is based on 52 alternate universes. So you might have 52 different versions of Superman, or if you want to know where the Watchmen come from in the DC universe, well, they're in one of those 52 universes. Anyway, so they do 5,200. If you looked at all of the statues that I've shown you the number on, there's 5,200 of each one. And is that a coincidence? I don't think so. And I think that's kind of I mean, even that little thing for a fan collector like me, it just gives you a little bit of that nostalgia, and I really like that. So anyway, let's talk about Selina Kyle, guys. Is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Does she toe that line really a lot? I think she does. You know, back in the old Adam West Batman days, you had 3 or 4 different versions of Catwoman. My favorite, which is Julie Newmar, which in my opinion is a lot of what the Selina Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises was based on, her costume and all that type stuff. But you had Julie Newmar who played Catwoman, and I remember being a little kid, and I loved her character. And even then, I thought she was attractive. And then in the comic books, you had different versions. You had different versions of her cat suit. And when you fast forward to today, I would say this version of her costume is my favorite. Now, it's kind of a blending between the Michelle Pfeiffer and the Julie Newmar, in my opinion, and I really feel like it is the most appropriate to me now for her character, and I absolutely love this figure. Now, Catwoman, you know, you can argue, oh, it's sexist or whatever, but the argument is a flawed one, because of course it's a sexist version of her. She's always been something of eye candy for the male viewers, even in the Adam West Batman cartoon, or excuse me, the Adam West television show. So even back in the 60s, she was more of that type figure, but she's also pretty dang bad A. And I would say that if you play the Arkham series of Catwoman, because you can play her in Arkham City, it'll give you an example of why she's so bad A, is because she is truly a cat burglar. She uses her costume to both distract male opponents and to hide from her opponents. And there's a lot of value to the way she dresses. So in the comic book, she helps Batman as much as she's against Batman. They have kind of a complicated relationship. In a lot of versions, Selena Kyle is Batman's love interest, more so than anyone else. And if you think about the ironicness of that, she's a criminal in so many ways, and Batman is always the one character out of all the DC universe that can get the better of Batman is Catwoman. Think about that for a second. Batman is a legend in, I mean, even if you don't read comic books, everyone knows who Batman is. Batman's got this hype of he's the only one that can take down Superman, whatever. And the only character in the DC universe that can beat Batman and she does it on a regular basis is Catwoman. I think that's just phenomenal. So women out there, if you're watching this video, which I know I don't have a lot of female subscribers, Catwoman is 100% Batman's equal. Now, her weakness is she is always conflicted between doing the right thing and the wrong thing. But she's the only character, in my opinion, in the DC universe that can get the better of Batman. And that's just something to be in awe about. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just an impressive feat, in my personal opinion. So this version of Catwoman, guys, Selena Kyle, she is the only Catwoman to me. I know that there is a Halle Berry Catwoman out there, and there may be different versions of Catwoman. None of them hold a candle to Selena Kyle. She has to be Catwoman. I don't necessarily care if she's African American or a different color, as long as she plays the character right. In my opinion, Michelle Pfeiffer, for me, really defined the role as Catwoman. She was blonde, but Julie Newmar she was a brunette. So again, I am very, very open to interpretation on Catwoman, as long as you stick to the elements. And the elements of any superhero or comic book character is the origin story. If you get that right, everything else for me works. If you don't get that right, then the whole thing doesn't work, and I don't know how else to describe it. So I'll go over this really quick because I've done it in the other videos. I love the cat head on the top there. You've got you know, just I love that when the characters look exactly the way they're supposed to look. And again, gives you two different versions of characters that you can buy, and we've already seen those in other versions, so obviously they're not the only version of the characters. Again, guys, you get these from eBay, DC Direct, DC Collectibles. You can get them from Big Bad Toy Store in a lot of cases, and of course eBay. I get mine mostly from Salt Lake Comic Con. You can get these from Heebie Jeebies in Sandy in Utah. You can also get them from Dr. Volt in Salt Lake. A lot of different places. I know there's other collectors who aren't collecting in Utah. There's some great comic book stores down in Vegas. And then, of course, look at your local, Google your local sellers. But you can find these in a lot of places. And again, guys, when I go to Salt Lake Comic Con, I buy these mostly as filler items. In other words, they're not the main items that I'm looking for, but they're affordable enough that I pick them up as filler items to take home with me, make me feel like I got more. And again, I love taking these and putting them with my other figures to supplement my collection. So I have 3 basic type collectibles in my arsenal and in my home collection. I have action figures, I have statues, and I have props, I guess you could say. And props are obviously things that I can wear, or they're pictures. backgrounds, whatever have you. Statues are non-posable figures, and action figures, obviously, I can change different ways and whatnot. So again, guys, it really comes down to your personal collection types. I hope you liked the video today. Please like and comment and share. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And guys, as always, comments and feedback is so important to me. I appreciate you guys watching this video installment, a little bit shorter than the other videos. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.